Hello and welcome. My name is Errity Green and this is Wise Woman Television, and today I am bringing you a pick a card reading on the purpose in your present challenge. So I encourage you to stick around, like, subscribe, become a part of this family. We'd love to have you here. If you find you like this reading, go ahead and click the bell icon. That way you'll get the notifications for future readings when they pop up. I do want to let you know I do offer personal readings as well as coaching programs. Right now I have a profound coaching program out. It's called Spirit Woman. It's a year-long community to nurture your true nature and your highest potential. You can check out those details below or at erritygreen.com/spiritwoman. So from here, I will go ahead and place a picture up of your 3 card pile choices today. All right, card pile 1. Let's go ahead and get started. So this is on the purpose in your present challenge. And so you might be going through some kind of difficulty or stressor has come into your life, something that our ego or human doesn't love. It doesn't feel good to have like an unexpected bill or something, freak accident happens, or someone became ill or whatever, but there's some kind of present challenge. It's due to a recent or at least recent enough stressor that has entered your life, something that our humans and egos don't tend to love or enjoy, the more difficult experiences and circumstances in life, but there's some deep growth and maturity and maturation happening for you. Now, I know that people don't like that either, oftentimes from the level of the ego, but then, as we awaken and expand, we're willing to at least accept, yes, of course, that's part of the process and the journey. And clearly you're awakened enough to be here watching this channel. So you know this, and you even recognize, I feel like those of you that you're realizing that you're blossoming and maturing through this in some ways, I feel like some of you don't know why or how you are yet, but you do realize that it's serving your growth in some way, and you found some acceptance there for that. But in some way, you're coming into greater spiritual maturity within yourself. You are growing in some way, and I feel like for some of you, it could be in the areas of trust and faith, but it could also be sort of embracing life's challenges, embracing the human condition, embracing the human experiences, sort of taking the good with the bad, finding the greater context for, like, there's a quote-unquote bad event or a stressor or a stressful event in your life, being able to sort of expand your vision and your perspective and see the greater context for that. There's still other things that are great in your life. There's other things to be grateful for. There's other pieces to your life that you're very satisfied with and fulfilled by. And so maybe card pile 1, when something sort of, quote unquote, again, bad happens, or negative, right? These sort of labels and judgments we use of the ego, and really there are no labels. There's no good and bad, positive and negative. It's just how we tend to equate things. If it feels good, it must be great, and that's not always the case. Some toxic relationships feel amazing for a while and they don't. So all of that to say, the way our egos define things isn't necessarily true, but I use bad and negative so we can get an idea of what we're talking about here. And so for you, you might not be too fond of, kind of stressors or experiences or whatever when they happen in your life, and yet you're learning to embrace them. And again, you might be the kind of person who focuses and puts all of your focus on, we'll say a problem when it pops up, right? Because the reading is find the purpose in your present challenge or your present problem. You might be the kind of person, card pile 1, when a problem happens, you give it all of your focus. You devote all of your time, your energy, you devote your whole self to this. You're going to solve it. You're going to solve it now. You're going to get it done. You're going to get it out of the way. But what you're finding, card pile 1, is that you do that and just another problem pops up, and you do that and another problem pops up, and you do that and another problem pops up, because that's life. Things come, things go, and something else always pops up. And so it's, there's this sort of gentle awareness or guidance or sort of invitation for you of like recognizing that and seeing that and saying, do you want to devote your whole life, your whole self, your time, energy, and attention to a problem or any problem as it pops up? Or do you want to experience the greater context of your life and the problem is just a part of it? So again, card pile 1, you might be that person who tends to give any problem that pops up, all of your time and attention, but then what you find is your whole life is just a series of problems that you're fixing and solving. Well, that can't be the way to live, is it? And so card pile 1, what wants to happen for you is, you might have a problem, but part of your journey is expanding your awareness and your perspective and your focus and your energy and your attention to the greater context around that problem. Meaning you're not giving the problem all of your focus and your linear attention, and it's like directly at it. I'm going to solve this. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make it better. I'm going to get rid of it, because all you find is the very within a week or two, there's another problem. And so it's like, well, that can't be the way to live your life. Instead, recognizing that there's a whole life happening around that problem. There's a whole context happening around that problem. Think of it, a garden. There might be one weed in the center, let's just say, or maybe a set of weeds, but let's just say the whole rest of the garden is relatively weed-free, but you're only giving your attention to these weeds. What do you think is going to happen in that case? Right? You're going to give all of your attention to those weeds, pulling them, working, maybe you're getting insecticides and things like that, or whatever you're doing. I don't really know how all that works, but you're doing all this stuff just to focus on these weeds. Everything else around that problem starts to die. It's not getting the proper attention. It's not getting properly nourished or well fed. It's not being seen. Those pieces and aspects of your life aren't being seen. And so what you start to find is this whole self-fulfilling prophecies, then all you have is problems, right? Because all you gave that problem all of your attention, everything else around it starts to sort of wither or die, we could say, and then there really isn't a whole lot of life happening around the problems anymore. It's just problem after problem after problem after problem, and then that's all you know, and then you think that's what life is. Or you might have this idea of, oh, life, something bad always happens, or something always comes to kind of throw us off, or capsize the boat, or whatever. That's your whole view of life, because that's what you give your attention to. But life is saying, no, there's an opportunity for celebration around that difficulty, around that circumstance, around that thing that we could say kind of makes you vulnerable or makes you feel insecure or unsafe or whatever. And instead of working so hard to give all your time and attention to fix this problem so it will go away, can you let yourself live your life around that problem? Can the problem just be there? Will you allow yourself to just feel unsafe and insecure and uncomfortable? And that doesn't mean we don't solve our problems, right? If something pops up, if a roof is leaking, we got to eventually fix it, right? But it's not like, again, that linear focus and attention where you've just now devoted your whole path to that, your everyday, all of your moments, all of your mental energy, all of your emotional energy. You find yourself tapped out, card pile 1, and burn out, but it's not even real. It's because of what this whole thing that you've created, right? You've, again, devoted yourself to all these problems, and it's like, can you expand your experience, your energy, your focus, your perspective to include the wholeness that is your life, the garden, that full garden, all of the thriving things that are happening in that garden. There's bees, and there's hummingbirds, and there's plants, and there's flowers, and there's trees, and there's fruits. There's all these things, but you give all your attention to the problems, and it's saying you can give your attention to the whole garden. The problem can be there. It will be solved. It will come and it will go, and things will happen as they need to, and some problems will be harder than others, and some will take longer than others, which is why, hey, we're not going to give all of our attention to it. Expand your focus, expand your perspective, allow yourself to be grateful for, to experience, to be fulfilled by, to live out the other parts of your life. There might be a part that's kind of hanging there like a sore thumb, right? Or like a sight for sore eyes. It's like you have this beautiful living room, and then there's like a couch that has a big stain on it, and you're like, I just want to take care of that couch. What about the rest of your beautiful living room? And it's saying, don't forget about that. You tend to lose sight of the whole truth, the full truth, nothing but the truth, right? Because you focus on just that problem. This is the maturity and the growth that wants to happen for you here, that you can allow, because what it ultimately comes down to is you feeling unsafe and insecure. Go to that part of you, recognize that's all it's really about, is feeling at risk, feeling unsafe, feeling uneasy, feeling uncomfortable. Can you just be with that feeling, recognize it for what it is? Maybe it's your inner child, or maybe you're just recognizing, gosh, I just feel really unsafe and insecure right now. I feel some of you might even feel sick to your stomach sometimes in that regard, or maybe it ties back to that in some way, that vulnerability, and you're really scared to enter that space, and it's saying like, can you just be with that feeling, be with that sensation, and recognize that's really what you're trying to solve? That's the problem you're really trying to fix and appease, is that feeling of unsafety and insecurity and vulnerability. And I just want it to be, gone. So I'm going to fix all these fucking problems so I don't have to feel that. Let that up. If you have to grieve, grieve. If you have to, feel sick for a second, feel sick. If it makes you feel anxious, then allow yourself to feel or experience that. If you can't get the support, the help, to provide a container for you to be able to face these things, to face your fears, essentially, to face your insecurities. So that way you can recognize that you're actually not trying to fix all these problems. You're just trying to fix a certain way of how you feel when these problems come up. You're trying to appease your discomfort, pacify your anxiety, and sort of squash your fears. And it's saying that, that obviously if that's the problem that you're trying to fix, that's what really needs your attention, right? So you can start to support that part of yourself, nurture that part of yourself, soothe that part of yourself, even just start with acknowledging, becoming aware, acknowledging that it's there, and feeling those feelings, maybe even seeing the root or the origins or where they come from, how it's developed, maybe even certain patterns like we're talking about in your life, so that you can start to see the root of this and recognize that that's something that you can uproot. You know, you don't have to keep this as a part of your life. You can very much make a conscious choice. This isn't going to be the case for you. And that when a problem arises, you first check in with yourself, how you feel, how it's, you know, sort of triggering those feelings of a lack of safety and security, and then insecurity, and then fear, and just your desire to feel invulnerable. But now you're feeling vulnerable. Can you just let yourself feel vulnerable? Can you let yourself be there? Can you ask someone to hold you in that space? Can you just feel vulnerable? And like, again, I feel some of you feel anxiety or even sick to your stomach when you go there. Feel that vulnerability, and just, again, if you don't feel safe, do what you need to do to ensure that feeling of safety so you can be with this feeling, because ultimately that energy wants to move, that pattern wants to clear, that paradigm might not be true for you anymore, and you're perpetuating it by the way that you respond to all the problems in your life. But again, you're just trying to get rid of these sensations, not really the problem. So the more you can work with yourself, then you'll come to peace, but also a space in your life and awareness and occupation of problems are going to come and go. I'm not going to get too attached to them. I'm not going to devote myself to them. I'll do what I can, and I'm going to let go of the rest. I'll do my part when I can, as I can, and I'm letting this stuff come and go, because that's what's going to happen with life. You're not getting too attached to making it go away, to fixing it now, to resolving it. I must know, it must happen, there must be a strategy. You're not getting all up in that, because, you're able to just connect with that this is actually about you and your own insecurities, your own fear, your own vulnerability. And that's what actually needs to be held. That's what actually needs to be seen or to be felt, to be revealed. Because the more you connect with that and realize that that's really what you're working with, then you can, as an example, a problem comes up, like, right, the roof leaks, the stain on the couch, whatever, and you can go into yourself, recognize it for what it is. If it's bringing yourself a felt sense of safety, meeting some kind of need, whatever, you can do that, and then you can sort of let that problem be and address it as a side note. It doesn't become your whole life or the only thing or your sole focus. It just becomes another part, another thing in your garden of life. Yeah, so it's going to shift you from a place of stress and maybe even overactivity with your mind, or a place of even numbness because you've worked like an overdrive of just trying to solve problems for your entire life, and just juggling all the balls and doing all the things and fixing all the problems, and again, holding it all up, to a space of much more just peace, of new vision, of a new life that's truer to you, that's more honoring of you, that's more authentic to you, that doesn't rely on problems. Like your whole life might just be a series of problems that you're fixing, and you didn't even know that maybe until I shared this with you today. And so what is the purpose in your present challenge? It's to discover the part of you that doesn't waver, that doesn't get lost in problems, that doesn't seek to try to fix everything and make it all better and do it all right now and make it all happen now and da-da-da-da-da. Instead, it's, can you find the person, the space, the awareness, or whatever beyond that, that's sort of universal and consistent through all of our moments. And then problems just get to come and go like a wave, like a tide. It comes and it goes, it comes and it goes. And it's really asking you to cultivate a willingness to be able to hold that comfort, to be with those sensations, to be with that anxiety, to be with that fear. And again, you might find insights or memories or old things come up with that. Good, it's coming up and out. That's all that needs to happen. And over time, as you continue to expand your perspective and awareness around the problems that are happening in your life, you're going to find that the problems don't make such an impact in your world. They certainly don't impact your psyche nearly as much or as powerfully, and you're just able to live with more ease, with more peace, with more stress-freeness, with carefree lightness, with levity. You're able to live much more easily. So card pile 1, that's the purpose in your present challenge. If that lands for you, if it resonates, do like, subscribe. I'd love to see you press that bell icon. That way you receive a notification every single time a video pops up. I do want to let you know I offer personal readings as well as coaching programs to support you in your life, in your work, and your spiritual path. And I have an amazing program out right now. It's called Spirit Woman. You can check out those details below or at erritygreen.com/spiritwoman. Thank you, card pile 1. Okay, card pile 2, the present, I keep saying that, the purpose in your present challenge. Okay, this is a good one. Something happened for you, card pile 2, where you lost something. This could be the loss of a dream, the loss of a fantasy, the loss of a relationship. But again, it could also be like the idea that you had about the relationship, the dream that you wish could have happened for the relationship, the loss of a business, the loss of status, of your place in society, the loss of a promotion. Maybe you really put your hopes in something, all of your eggs in one basket. You weren't accepted. You didn't get the job. You didn't get the scholarship. You didn't get the thing. You weren't offered the opportunity. And so there's some kind of disappointment and disillusionment happening here. Okay, the loss of something where you had these wishful expectations, they weren't brought to fruition, they never really were founded, like they just weren't grounded, it didn't come to be, you know. So there was some kind of disappointment, some kind of loss. Now, what I'm getting right off the bat is that it's actually serving you, and then some of you are going to be angry and hearing this because you're just not there yet, and that's okay. You get to be wherever you want to be. Your feelings are valid. You can even say F you, Errity. That's fine, okay? But you're here, so you want to know. So there's a part of you that is curious, that is receptive, that is willing. So I ask you to tap into that part of you if you're not there yet. Part of you wanted you to experience sort of simpler pleasures, returning to the home, we actually had a reading recently that was similar to this, so I am curious. It's interesting how they kind of align in this way, but returning to ease, returning to nature, maybe to the simplicity of family life. So for some of you who might have lost a job or an opportunity and you feel like it's, you know, terrible for all these reasons, and yet you're spending more time with your family, you're spending more time with your spouse. If that's not the case, you're spending more time in your garden, or you're spending more time on your own with yourself, just being with yourself. Maybe you're spending times with some of you, I feel very specifically, you're spending time with your mom, or you're spending time with your family, like maybe elders that you wouldn't have otherwise spent time with, but you're just returning to sort of home, simple pleasures, togetherness, connection, returning to like those essential things that support human being to feel fulfilled and to thrive, that really don't have a whole lot to do with the big dreams, the big fantasies, the big illusions. Like oftentimes our dreams are they're satisfying, right, in a lot of ways, and yet if we don't have these more essential parts of our lives, those things never really end up mattering. They might very much feel empty, and so it's like this is the true foundation, essence, togetherness, community, earth, nature, home, food, delicious food, good conversations, simplicity, ease, kind of just getting up when you can, you know, not by an alarm, but because the sun came up and the rooster, you know, you hear it down the road or whatever, and or waking up to your child waking up, whatever. Like there's some simplicity or essence here that's being discovered as a result of this loss, of this disillusionment. You might have felt discouraged, even depressed. You might have felt angry and bitter. This was quote unquote taken from you, or didn't pan out, didn't work out, didn't come to fruition like you thought it would. But again, a lot of this I do also feel sort of like this Aquarian energy of like this big fantasy, this big dream. It might have not ever even been real or founded in reality. It was actually just a hope that you had, a wish, and you're feeling like it came crashing down, but it might not have ever been something that was like an actual sort of actuality in your life right now. Might be a possibility for later, right? We can never say that potentials aren't possible or possibilities aren't real, because they always are. But were they relevant for you right here, right now? Maybe not. Maybe it was always just a dream, a fancy, a whim, and you thought it would just work out. Like Aquarian, they tend to dream big and have all these ideas, and then that's why I said Aquarian energy of like these big dreams, these big fantasies, and then you can experience disillusionment because again it was never real, and maybe it wasn't going to be real for you right now anyway, but it brought you back to home, to earth, to simplicity, to nature, to yourself. So what you're going to find here, the purpose in your present challenge is you end up finding the gratitude or the peace or the harvest or the bounty in this experience. Because here's the thing, it might have been difficult. It was a big loss, or it was disappointing. Again, you might have been going through the fields of anger and so on and so forth. So there might be some turmoil here. There might be some challenge here. There might be some disappointment or loss here. And yet you're finding the peace within it. You're finding the ray of light, the silver lining, because you are connecting to those sort of ordinary life pleasures, just the ordinariness of everyday life. You know, chop wood, carry water. I get up, I brush my teeth. I make myself a coffee and a breakfast. I get up, I take the dog out. I come and I feed the dog. I sit there. And then I get up, and this is not for the case for people with children, but I'm just saying this is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And then I sit there and I notice that that the weather looks blank outside today and I see the leaves rustling a bit. You know, I put on my clothes and my shoes and I step outside. I take a breath. The simplicity in the breath. It feels a little humid today. You know, or it feels a little bit chilly today. And then you walk down, you take a little walk. You don't really have an agenda. You notice the neighbor. Hi, neighbor. You walk back up to your house. What should I do now? Right? So like that kind of vibe of just simplicity, essence, doing nothingness, ordinariness. Like that's the vibe that I'm getting. And you end up finding some beauty in this. And maybe even a part of you that yearned for that and sought for that, but wasn't giving yourself permission to experience fully before. Or it's something that you've never given yourself permission to experience. You haven't yet experienced. So life was hand delivering this to you so that you could experience this. Some of you didn't even realize how much meaning or how much these things matter to you, these aspects of life. Perhaps you always had these big dreams or again, those big fantasies, and put all of your weight in that, you know, put all the power, all the satisfaction and the thrill of life in that, and you weren't really truly seeing what ultimately mattered to you or what mattered to the human experience. That it was really about these more essential components, coming back to essence, coming back to self, coming back to God, Great Spirit, higher power, universe, coming back to love, to people you love, to sharing a hearty meal, to cooking a hearty meal. And so a lot of you we're coming into union, I feel like, with another part of yourself that wasn't really being given a whole lot of time, energy, attention prior to this. There was some sort of fracture or schism within the self where it's like you were living in alignment toward maybe this bigger dream or this bigger fantasy, this bigger goal and milestone, but you weren't really living true to this deeper, authentic part of you, this deeper, simpler part of you that just wanted to be home and to cook and maybe spend time with your kids, to give them a bath, and to read them a bedtime story. And again, whether kids or single, I'm giving a lot of different examples here to kind of give it the air of this in many forms, but however it lands for you, it's how it's meant to land for you. You were meant to sort of bridge the gap between these different dual aspects of your personality or yourself, the sort of different characters that live inside of us that want to play out. It's like you'd given a lot of credence and power to this other side of you of building and creating and bringing to fruition and manifesting and all these things, and yet there's a quieter part of you that, you know, yearned for solitude or quiet or stillness or nature or animals or essence. And that's the part of you that you've been awakening and giving power to and weight to through this change, through this experience. You've been able to sort of return to those deeper, earthier foundations of what it means to be human, what it means to be in a human body, what it means to be human in a human body in a world of nature. And so you were returning to more of these truer essences that really actually bring about a greater harvest and abundance for you. You find that this brings you more fulfillment than maybe you found in other paths or in other areas, that it nourishes you, and that maybe in the other stuff you might have enjoyed it or found a thrill or satisfaction, but it didn't truly deeply nourish you. This nourishes you. This is what you were meant to uncover. Closer to home, closer to household routines, to the simplicity and essence of chopping wood, carrying water. Yeah, because for a long time, I feel like you wondered why you weren't satisfied. You wondered why you weren't fulfilled. Something was missing. And it's interesting because I feel like some of you are feeling that now with the loss of this dream, but it's because you're attached to that old identity, to that old way of being or doing or living. You're attached to the ideas of what could have been or what should have been or what might have been, but it's not real. Those are just the ideas and the fantasies that you had, the big dreams. They weren't truly real. And if they were, they'd still be here, right? So you were meant to uncover something new, something different. So that's part of the meaning of this card. The other part is for a long time you found that no matter what you did or what you created, or whatever success you found, or whatever you pursued, whatever you practiced, all these things that you worked toward, that you built toward, or whatever, that there was something that was missing, and or there was something that didn't feel completely in alignment, or there was something that was like you weren't truly fully satisfied. You weren't truly fully fulfilled. It was like this inner nourishment. It was this inner connection, this inner intimacy, this inner connection, intimacy with all of life, with simplicity, with ease, with essence. There was something that was missing all along. And through this experience, you're now able to experience that more fully. Through this, whatever that loss, that disillusionment was, that failure, whatever crumbling that occurred, a crumbling of an identity, of an idea, of a wish, of a dream, of a job, of a relationship. It brought you to a new space to be able to create a new in your life from a more authentic place, from a truer place, from the deeper part of you, a more essential part of you. And it doesn't mean you do away with the other part of you, right? This is a coming together of both of those. And I think before it was actually very strained to try to bring these together. It was very strained and difficult for you. You didn't know how to find balance. You didn't know how to find harmony. You couldn't bring these two parts of you together. Maybe they were in conflict, or it was like extreme. It was all or nothing, one or the other. You're now finding a way to be able to bridge the gap, to be able to bring these two parts of you together in harmony, meaning you have your foundation first, your essential nature first, your nourishment first, your soul first. And from this beautiful foundation of deep embedded roots into all the layers of this earth and into your home, and having proper routines and healthy food and meals that are shared and things like that. Once you get to that place, you have your roots. Now you can blossom. Now you can flower. Now you can branch out. Now you can grow up into the highest heights that you desire for yourself. But it's with you rooted, planted, embedded, with a life, with something that's connected to the truth, to the true of you, to essence, to life, to source. There was something here about having some real roots to support these flowering ideas. And again, we talked earlier even about some of these things might have just been wishful notions and fancy, and it could be pointing to the fact that they were never truly rooted. You didn't really have a whole lot to hold on to, or a place to plant these dreams, because you hadn't really connected to the other part of you, the more foundational part of you. And so now you're bringing that all together, and you're coming to this place of greater wholeness, nourishment, satisfaction, fulfillment, contentment within yourself. And then from there, you are able to then move in toward, but I feel like for many of you, a new dream, a new path. It is going to be different than what it was before, and it's going to be something more authentic and fulfilling and satisfying for you. It's going to include the wholeness of you, the wholeness of your life, all parts of you. It's not going to be denying certain parts or ignoring or neglecting certain parts, not giving enough time, energy, attention to the parts of yourself at home or whatever those parts are for you. It's going to include the whole pie. It's not going to be just one piece of the pie that you're giving and devoting all your energy and attention to. You bring your whole self and you build a life that has a whole aspect to it, not just one singular thing that you sort of, again, put all your eggs in one basket and are waiting and hoping it works out. Oh, and that's where my fulfillment is. You found a deeper level of fulfillment that's universal, that's consistent, that doesn't change, that's invulnerable. And it's because of the shift that's happened in your life. So the purpose in your present challenge was to bring you to a greater place of wholeness, connection, communion with self, with God, Great Spirit, higher power, with earth and nature, with your family, with your loved ones, with your home, with your roots, with your truth. It was meant to bring you into the chopping wood and carrying water of just being human, of that essence, of that essential essence-ness, if that's even a word, but it kind of gives a vibe of what it means to be human and to live life on this earth. You start there, you start simply, and then you can build from there. So that's your reading card pile 2. If it landed for you, I encourage you to like, to subscribe. Do press the bell icon. That way you're notified when other videos pop up. I do offer personal readings as well as coaching programs. I have a profound program out right now. It's called Spirit Woman. It's a year-long community to nurture your true nature and your highest potential. You can check out those details below or at erritygreen.com/spiritwoman. Thank you, card pile 2. Okay, card pile 3, the purpose in your present challenge. Okay. Yeah, so your present challenge, you're meant to stand strong. So whatever you're experiencing, whatever adversity or maybe some forces or influences external to you or sort of trying to push you or force you in a certain direction or a certain way, or maybe there's even a part of you feel conflicted. But I feel like in some way there's like this request somewhere with someone or somewhere outside of you that's asking you to settle for less or to negotiate or to compromise on your values. And you're being asked not to do that. You're being asked to stand strong, to stand in your personal sovereignty, your own knowing, your own values, and stay rooted to what you know is right, stay rooted to what you know is true. For some of you, this may be some kind of situation regarding justice, fairness, equality, where you're being asked to stay true to the truth, like integrity. This is really what it's about. Standing firm in your integrity, no matter what the world is saying, no matter what other voices are popping up, no matter the naysaying, no matter the haterade that might be coming your way. If people and things are saying that because they're out for their own agenda, their own personal agenda, and because they're not seeing the whole situation, and because they have their own personal agenda, ulterior motive. But if they have a differing opinion, they're not seeing the whole truth. They're seeing from a more conditioned and limited perspective than what you're able to see. So you're being asked to stand firm, to stand in your truth, to stand in your own integrity, and to walk this path like a warrioress, or a warrior. But I say warrioress because it looks like there's a gal here on this picture. And to not settle for less, not compromise on your values, most importantly, to be true to you and what you know is right and true, fair. Okay, there's something here, a battle, a conflict, a war, even for some of you, like you feel like it's a war. So I am feeling this, so I am going to share it. Some of you might be, this is not going to be the case for everyone. You got to apply it to your circumstance, okay? But I'm getting a lot of examples. I'm getting divorce, I'm getting child custody, I'm getting child abuse, I'm getting something happened at work. I actually have chills. Some of you, gosh, there was an example, and I'm trying to go back, and it may not come through again. Things come and go so quickly in a reading. But I'm sure it'll come back if it's necessary, and it likely will be. But there's some kind of truth, integrity, and justice that you're being asked to stand for. Now, some of you are finding this reading after the fact, and you're maybe having regrets and questions, and you're second-guessing yourself. Did I make the right choice? I don't know if this outcome is exactly what I wanted or what was supposed to happen, and you're wondering, and you're wavering, and you're saying, did I make the right choice? I don't know if I did. It's saying yes. You made the right choice. Trust yourself. Trust your judgment. Trust that what you did at the time was the right choice for the right time. We can only do as good as what we know, right? When we know better, we do better. So perhaps things have changed or things have moved and the situation more has been revealed, but trust yourself and your own knowing and your own choosing, and that what you did was right for that time. Now, again, for some of you, this is a very present challenge. And so you're being asked to stand firm, to hold the pole. When you own a polarity and you just hold it, you stand on that hill and don't budge. You're being asked not to compromise. Now, when I say that don't budge, then Spirit sort of informs me, well, there can be room for flexibility. But it's saying flexibility in the areas that don't count or don't as matter much. Like, don't be flexible when it comes to your core values and what you know is true, just, and integral. Those are the places to be flexible. Can you be flexible with the small details and minor punctuation and things like that? Sure, but we're not going to budge on the things that matter most. And you're the one who has to decide that. Part of this process, of this journey for you, is learning what matters to you most. Learning what your core values are. Learning what you stand for. Learning what you will stand for. Learning that personal sovereignty, personal empowerment, standing on your own 2 feet, standing up for what matters, speaking up for what matters. This might be very well a lesson for you in all of those ways and more, because it's about your integrity, truth, and justice, but it's also you standing firm for it, not bending, not budging to external voices. You might be a people pleaser or someone who tends toward trying to work toward or earn approval, and so it's very difficult for you to stand firm because you want to sort of go over toward what this person says or what this naysayer says, or you're worried about what people think because you've been rejected in the past and it's triggering that abandonment rejection wound. So you really want to be liked, so you want to say the thing that they suggest that you say, and if I only said this, then they would just it would appease and pacify the situation, so I'll just say what they want to do. No, you're meant to stand firm in what you know is true and right. What is true and right for you? That's what you're learning. That's the whole point of this. That's the purpose in your present challenge, is to stand strongly, to stand firm in what you know is true, right, just, and fair. Okay, I feel like some of you had something had to do with a school or a workplace. Something happened that was quote unquote not right, inappropriate, unfair, and equal. Again, some of you are dealing with legal or criminal systems. Some of you might have been sexually assaulted in some way. This is a number of different experiences, and I've gotten like a number of different cases here, and it doesn't have to be truth, fairness, equality, and justice as related to the court system or the criminal system or any of that stuff. It doesn't have to be those things. These are just some of the things that I'm getting. And so some of you, it's a board meeting and you're having to be honest about what you saw or about what you experienced about someone else that didn't do something. Or some of you are having to be honest about what you did. And some of you and some other people or voices in your head or other people could be saying, oh, just, don't tell the whole truth, that's going to get you in trouble. But do what you know is right. Okay, that's what you're being asked to do. Yeah, look at this, courage. Yeah, I feel like some of you are apprehensive, nervous, scared, feeling unsure, uncertain if you can do this, if you can follow through, if you can be a voice for this, if you can carry this weight, this emotional burden, and you're being asked to stand strong, to be courageous, that you are supported by God, Great Spirit, higher power, your guides, your angels, however you see it. Check out that little growth, right? Teeny tiny baby growth right here. They're not only are they growing through concrete, so this is a very difficult situation that you're finding yourself in. You're feeling maybe even stuck, feeling like you can't get air, in a lot of ways you might be experiencing this somatically in a number of different ways it can manifest. But for some of you, the whole point here is you're growing courage You're growing courage, you're growing courageous through this process. And it feels painstaking or burdensome in some way because, again, you're growing through concrete. But here's the thing. Because of this is the only way for this to grow. We can only develop like a pillar of self, right, through adversity. It's like that's the pressure, right, that creates a diamond. You know, we know that example, that metaphor. It's like the pressure is what creates the diamond. The diamond is not created without that pressure. This is the very pressure that was required or that you needed in order to grow into this greater part of yourself, into this stronger version of yourself, into this warrior, into this person who can stand on their own 2 feet for the truth, for your own integrity, for what you know is right. For some of you, it's for your children. And so it's a very small seedling, right? This might be new for you. Standing on your own 2 feet, standing up for yourself, standing up for the vulnerable, whatever might be new for you, or to do it to this degree, but you're being supported. Look at all that light behind you. You're being supported and you're being held protected. You are safe. You are protected so that you can do what is right, so you can do what is fair, so you can do what you know you need to do. You're being held and protected. This little baby is kind of growing and blossoming, you know, through all of this, and it's being protected and held. And that's what you're being told is you're protected, you're held, and we're kind of creating this container for you to grow into this, for you to be able to grow into your own courage, your own bravery, to be able to do this work. Share your voice, stand for what's true, whatever it is, right? Yeah. So there's a couple things here. This is really what you're learning is self-trust. So we got of like kind of growing into and standing on your own 2 feet within your own integrity. All of that. I think that's very much part of this process, a pillar of this process. And it feels like the purpose and the present challenge is to develop that self-trust within yourself, to trust you. To trust you. I don't feel it's about trusting life, God, all that stuff. It's ultimately, right, a reflection of that, because everything is, but this is about you and you. This is about you and you. You facing you. You going into the ring facing you and trusting you. This is what this is about. Coming home to yourself. Inner union, inner communion, inner connection, inner harmony, inner peace, inner balance, trusting the self. So this present experience, whatever it is you're experiencing, there's some kind of manifestation that doesn't feel good, that feels like a lot of pressure. And now it's already been done for a small minority or majority of you, maybe 10% or whatever. This is more of a past thing. You're second guessing, you're wondering, you're curious. And, you know, if you made the right choice, did you do the right thing? And it's saying yes. And this was about self-trust. And the thing is, are you now trusting yourself? Has that been strengthened or has it been fractured through this? Because it was meant to be strengthened. So if it's being fractured, then that's ego talking, because spirit and soul wants you to own, to strengthen, to expand, to mobilize your trust in yourself. It doesn't want that to be fractured or to be beaten down or to be non-existent. The whole point was for you to actually realize this. And so your purpose and your present challenge is to really trust yourself, love yourself. Do you love yourself enough to stand firm? Do you love yourself enough to trust yourself? Do you love yourself enough to stand firm in the face of pressure and adversity, to speak your truth in the face of naysayers and haters and haterade, to not compromise and negotiate your core values, what matters most to you? This is helping you grow a strong, sturdy sense of self that is more or less invulnerable and indestructible. A strong, healthy ego is required to be able to navigate in this world, to survive in this world, and especially to thrive in this world. It's also supporting you, though, once you develop that strong, sturdy pillar within you, it's helping you also develop after that, to then, again, develop that flexibility, strong, united in your core values, unbudging, unwavering, and maybe flexible with the minor details. But we don't really know what even flexibility is if we haven't also experienced strength. So there's this beautiful balance that's unfolding that you're learning. So you're learning that strength of self. You're learning to know yourself also. Stand strong in those values, whatever it is that matters most to you, and ultimately trust yourself. So that's your purpose and your present challenge, card pile 3. If that resonates for you, I encourage you to like, to subscribe, share your story in the comments if you so desire. Also press the bell icon. That way you get notifications anytime a video pops up. I'd love to see you again. And I will also let you know and finish this up by, of course, I do offer both private readings, personal readings, as well as coaching programs to support you. I have a profound program out right now. It's called Spirit Woman. And it's a year-long community to nurture your true nature and your highest potential. You can check out those details below or at my website at erritygreen.com/spiritwoman. Thank you, card pile 3.